Before we begin our preview, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your continued support of Union Avenue Opera, both for your generous financial contributions and your notes and words of encouragement that you continue to send. Know that we appreciate each and every one of you. Early on in my career at Union Avenue Opera, I began signing my emails "See you at the Opera" as a way of reminding you that while we may not be together at that moment, we would be at the opera in the summer. And while that isn't quite true for this year, know that Scott and I look forward to the day when we can welcome you all back to Union Avenue Opera and see you at the opera once again.
Hello, and welcome to our preview of Rossini's Il Barbiere di Siviglia. In 2001, Union Avenue Opera first presented The Barber of Seville. This new production, which will now be presented in July of 2021, will make it an even 20 years since this opera last graced our stage. That production, very early in our history, featured many UAO favorites from those early days, some of whom I know many of you will remember. Anne Hoyt played and beautifully sang Rosina. Patrick Hogan was wonderful as Figaro. Robert McNichols offered a hilarious Dr. Bartolo, and Stephanie Tennell sneezed her way expertly through the comedic role of Berta. You may remember, too, that the set for that production, designed by Scott Sanders, was an ingeniously constructed turntable, which took up the entire stage and was turned by hand by various cast members at the appropriate times. It was a very effective and fun way of imagining the world of this opera, but it was also very heavy, and we had to have extra rehearsals to make rotating the turntable look effortless. Union Avenue Opera has certainly grown up quite a bit over the past 20 years, and I can't wait to share with you what we've imagined for this new production. We've assembled a great production team and a cast of more recent UAO favorites, as well as some new artists who will make their company debuts next July. I loved conducting this work back in 2001, but this time around we've invited Maestro Stephen Hargraves to return for his 4th show at Union Avenue Opera to lead our wonderful orchestra and to accompany the recitatives himself. I hope you really enjoyed this preview, and as always, thank you so much for your dedication and support of Union Avenue Opera.
A young couple in love, a cranky old man out to ruin their fun, and a fast-talking barber with a clever plan. Figaro is the only one who can help the fair Rosina outwit her aging guardian and live out her days in the arms of her true love. Rossini's laugh-out-loud romantic comedy is full of mischievous escapades and inventive antics sure to delight.
Well, my vision for Barber of Seville is to be what it is. I think a lot of times we try to superimpose our own vision and values on top of these great works, and instead of looking at what I think of as what the text is saying, and then what the composer through their musical interpretation is saying about the text. And Barber of Seville is a really just genuinely funny show. It has a lot of really great characters in it, and a lot of really absurd, really hilarious situations. And so a lot of what I try to do is sort of the same thing that Scott does in the sense of facilitating the musical part of the show, is that I want to just facilitate the visual part of it. And I want to do that in a way that allows the comedy to feel natural, to have a more modern pace. Modern comedy tends to move a little quicker than it used to do a couple hundred years ago. And so I try to keep that pace relevant. And then also, I like to feel like Barber of Seville is actually in Seville, which is an actual place that exists and has its own architecture and colors and cultural influences from North Africa and from other places. And so I like to try to capture that unique flavor so it doesn't just sort of seem like generic opera land. I want it to look like a real place that actually you could go and visit. So, and I like to I also call it reality plus. I like to have the costuming and the situation, the scenery be just a little bit more extravagant than reality would allow, in the spirit of the kind of zany comedy that it is.
So the aria I'm about to sing for you right now is, well, Bartolo musing about the fact that Rosina just is the worst. But she's underestimated him, and he sings all about how she doesn't know what's coming next. Because he's recently found out that Rosina is up to something mischievous, but he doesn't know what. And he's going to spend the next, I don't know, hour of the opera trying to figure it out, only to realize that he's been completely duped and that he's not going to get her money.
Andottar della mia sorte, queste scuse, signorina. Andottar della mia sorte, queste scuse, signorina. Vi consiglio, mia carina, un po' meglio a imposturar, meglio, 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 meglio. Vi consiglio, mia carina, un po' meglio a imposturar, meglio, 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 meglio. Vi consiglio, mia carina, un po' meglio a imposturar, sì, sì. Vi consiglio, mia carina, un po' meglio a imposturar. A un dottor della mia sorte, questi scuse, signorina. Vi consiglio, mia carina, un po' meglio a imposturar. Un po' meglio a imposturar. Un po' meglio a imposturar. Via carina, confessate. Son disposto a perdonar. Non parlate, vi ostinate. Non parlate, vi ostinate. So ben io quel che ho da far, so ben io quel che ho da far. Signorinato volta quando batteranno fuori, signorinato volta quando batteranno fuori, la canzone se vittoria su modo fa sparare. Signorinato volta quando batteranno fuori, signorinato volta quando batteranno fuori, la canzone se vittoria su modo fa sparare. Ah, non sei fratello, suono faccio pure gata morta, faccio pure gata morta. Cospatom quella porta ne secondo quella porta ne menai tapiterà. Cospatom quella porta ne menai tapiterà. E Rosina innocentina, sconsolata, disperata, e ricevere le smorfie, faccia pure gata morta. Cospatom quella porta ne menai tapiterà. E Rosina innocentina, sconsolata, disperata, in tue camere serrate, finché voglio stare un dottor della mia sorte non si lascia infinocchiar, no, no. Un dottor della mia sorte non si lascia infinocchiar. E Rosina innocentina, sconsolata, disperata, in tua camera serrata, finché io voglio star dovrà, finché io voglio star dovrà. Finché io voglio star dovrà, sì, finché io voglio star dovrà, finché io voglio star dovrà, di star dovrà, si star dovrà, di star dovrà.
I love the moment when Figaro bursts in the depending on how you measure it, the Act 2 finale where he says "Alto la" and sings really big and stops everything. And I also love the Frozen moment, the fretta immobile. I love that part. And I also just love the duets. I love the duet with Figaro and Rosina, and the one with Figaro and the Count from Act 1. I just think they're just beautiful, just really clever, really creative, interesting points creatively. The female character in this has a lot of agency. I think sometimes traditionally it's not presented that way, but I like to present the show where Rosina really has a lot of internal drive and character and strength and is really fighting for herself and doesn't just need to be rescued by the Count. I think that's really important. Finally, I think I love the storm, which is a characteristic of Rossini opera, actually. It's a great chance for us to really show off the modern theatrical capabilities that we have with lighting and projection and other things that they couldn't do at the time. We could really make it look like a storm, and especially in this wonderful theater at Union Avenue, where you're really surrounded by this beautiful space with a dome shape and all that stuff. You can really do a lot of really great stuff in there. So I'm really actually looking forward to that aspect of the production.
Hello. I am so excited to present to you this entrance aria of Rosina, Una voce poco fa. Previous to this aria, she was serenaded by who she believes is a young student, Lindoro, and of course, she's immediately fallen in love. So in this aria, she begins by speaking of her love for Lindoro and how she will win him. But she says, if anyone gets in her way, including the grumpy old Don Bartolo who thinks himself that he's going to marry her, she will set 100 traps and make him fall. She's a very fiery one, Rosina, and she has definitely a mind of her own.
Il mio cor ferito è già, e l'ignoro fu che il piano, sì l'ignoro mio sarà, lo giurai, la vincerò, sì il tutto ricuserò, io l'ingegno aguzzerò, alla fin sa che terrò, e contento io resterò, sì l'indoro mio sarà, lo giurai, la vincerò, sì l'indoro mio sarà, io sono docile, sono rispettosa, sono obbediente, dolce e amorosa, mi lascio reggere, mi fa guidar, ma se mi tolgono dove il mio debole, sarò una vipera, sarò, eccendo trappole prima di cedere, farò giocare, eccendo trappole prima di cedere, farò giocare, eccendo trappole prima di cedere, eccendo trappole farò giocare. Io sono docile, sono obbediente, mi lascio reggere, mi fa guidare. Ma se mi tocca molto bene un tempo, non avere farò, e cendo trappole prima di cedere, farò giocare, e cendo trappole prima di cedere, farò giocare, e cendo trappole prima di cedere, e cendo trappole farò giocare, e cendo trappole farò giocare, e cendo trappole farò giocare, farò giocare.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's sneak peek. We hope you'll join us again on August 21st as we preview The Cradle Will Rock. Take care, and we'll see you at the opera.